This video is not financial advice. This video ain't actually about money at all. Best thing I can say, work hard, play harder. But I'm back on Black Ops 2, and it is just crazy how popular these old CODs have gotten again. Because I spend a lot of time on YouTube, and especially being an over-the-road truck driver, most nights when I get parked, I generally just lay down and watch YouTube and fall asleep because it has been a long day. And my recommended feed is just full of Black Ops 2 and MW2 videos. And a big trend I've been seeing is these, I'm going to say it's more than half are just straight up Black Ops 2 gameplay with the dude talking about financial tips and investing, the stock market, stuff like that. It's basically a bunch of the self-help stuff just repackaged as a Black Ops 2 video, which I think is pretty sick. It's just wild to see all these random business accounts just talking about investing and making money over Black Ops 2 gameplay. I think it's hilarious. So yeah, that's a lot of what I've been seeing on YouTube, man. Oh, what? Oh yeah, that guy modded himself to last. Nice. Turn it on your aimbot and you're killed last. Oh, and he can't be killed. Nice. God mode and everything. But it's just really cool to see kind of this resurgence, or like, I guess you could almost call it a renaissance for Black Ops 2 and some of these older CODs, seeing all these people hopping on and playing. I mean, this is just like, this is one of the last great CODs that was made. I mean, this is the end of the golden age of CODs, so it's just awesome to be able to hop on basically whenever and find a lobby. And I'm just having a blast playing it. Oh, you're joking me. And I'm not going to say too much, but I got something pretty neat for an MW2 video this weekend, hopefully. eBay said it was going to get here today. It is now like 8 p.m., so I don't think it'll make it tonight. But it should be here tomorrow. And, you know, that's all I'm going to say. MW2 related, should be pretty cool. All right, so I got a short little story that'll lead into something else I want to talk about. So this would have been like September of 2023. I had just moved into my current place I live. I rent a townhouse duplex sort of deal. And it was like first week of September, the first weekend of September is when I moved in. This is my first time like moving a bunch of stuff, and it just was not fun, and I was very ill prepared to live on my own. So like that first weekend, like the internet guys came out, got the internet hooked up. I had ordered a washer and dryer from Lowe's. They delivered that and stuff. And where I live, I'm not going to say it's remote, but it's kind of rural, and I don't really have the stores around me that I need to get like essentials, at least like big items. So I drove up to Indianapolis the weekend after I moved in to get some other things I needed. So like the first day I picked out like a couch and recliner. It was like $1,000 for the pair. You know, these are some pretty big boy purchases for me. So I got the couch and recliner ordered. And then the next day I'm like, I need a TV. And my parents had found a like media stand, or like a TV stand on Facebook Marketplace that they picked up for me. So I had that. It was like $100. It's this really nice. I didn't realize how heavy it was going to be, but it is heavy. It is a pain to move, but it is nice. It's got a bunch of glass and drawers on it. And, you know, I need a TV to go on it. And I'm like, you know what? We're going all out. I'm getting a 4K TV because I also wanted to get a PS5 to play on the big screen. So I go to Best Buy the next day, and I don't know a whole lot about TVs. I mean, I understand the basics. I know what the good brands are and whatnot. And I'm shopping around, I'm looking, and I find this TV that I like. It's like a 65-inch 4K TV. I believe it's a TCL. Ooh, what did this get? What? So I picked out the TV. The sales guy went back and pulled it out on one of those rolly carts. So after he pulled the TV out, I was like, hey man, you got any PS5s in the back? He said, let me check. You want one if we got one? I said, yes, sir. So he came out like 2 minutes later with a brand new PS5, and I bought a PS5 and a 4K TV on the same day, which was pretty cool because I had been looking for a PS5 for a while. Like I was trying to get one for the launch of Vanguard because I really wanted to play it on console still. because I hadn't completely put my PC together. That was at the time where they were just going for like $700-800 to $1,000 aftermarket, and you could not find them in stores. So I'd basically given up. But by this time in 2023, they were pretty readily available. So it was cool to get that and a 4K TV in the same day, because I'd never played a game in 4K or seen one played in 4K. So it was cool to be able to do that all in one trip. And getting the TV back to my place was one of the most stressful things I've ever done, because I have this brand new TV I just bought in the box, and I have it ratchet strapped upright in my truck bed, because I didn't know this, but you're supposed to transport flat screens vertically. You're not supposed to lay them down. So I had that and half of a couch in my truck bed, and I had to drive like 2.5 hours south, and it was very stressful. Everything made it down in one piece, and I was very thankful. So for the PS5 setup, I have it hooked up to the big TV downstairs, like in front of the couch, in front of my recliner and stuff. And generally on the PS5, I play like single player, like story games, like Elden Ring, most recently Dark Souls 3, Resident Evil 4 remake, stuff like that. And I also use it as a 4K Blu-ray player, because I am a big proponent of owning physical media, owning your discs, owning your games and movies and whatnot. So I was excited to start watching some 4K movies, and I'd watched a handful of them. I mean, I'm not against Blu-rays or even DVDs. I've watched everything on it, but I'd watched a handful of 4K movies, and let me see, like Joker. I mean, I just loved that movie, and it looked good to me. And Ferris Bueller's Day Off, I have that in 4K for some reason. And I don't think all those older movies look incredible in 4K. I mean, I'm not going to get into film to digital transitions, but it didn't blow my mind. Also, just another great movie. I think there's a Children of the Corn that came out in 2022 that I got in 4K. The movie was bad, but it looked good. But finally, on New Year's Day, I sat down and watched Oppenheimer. Visually, one of the most stunning movies I've watched. Like, that is the movie that I was, okay, this is what 4K Blu-rays are all about. They're also contained on Oh no. Sorry, I just got into talking about 4K Blu-rays and I killed the last. Yeah, he didn't like that. But he's also only got 19 kills, so great though. That was also the first time I've sat down for like a straight up 3-hour movie. Like, I've watched the extended versions of Lord of the Rings, but those are also contained on 2 Blu-rays. So after about 2.5 hours, you are kind of forced to take a break to swap discs. And that does break it up a little bit. Now, I will say following the story was a little rough, because there's probably 20-25 guys all dressed like they're from the 40s, and they all look the same. But just incredible movie, incredible acting all around, and just like I said, a visually stunning movie. Like, one of the best looking movies I've ever watched. Now, one thing I will say, this did throw me off a little bit, and I think I know why it is, but it was still strange to me. So if you don't know, movies generally have black bars at the top and bottom to portray a certain aspect ratio. 2.35 to 1 or something of the sort is like the general one. Oppenheimer, as well as plenty of other movies, it was shot on IMAX cameras, and if you don't know, IMAX cameras just take a much larger image than like a standard digital film camera. And IMAX screens are massive, and they're more of a square shape than like your home TVs and whatnot. This was an interesting choice. I'm not sure why they did it, but certain scenes specifically, like especially at the beginning, there's a lot of intercut shots of atoms and space, just like these stunning, mostly black backgrounds with like these moving particles of different colors and different waves. Really neat looking shots, just kind of not randomly, but they're just kind of tossed in and around the scenes. Just because there's so much going on in the middle of the screen, I wasn't really paying attention. But these shots took up my entire TV. Like, there were no black bars at the top and bottom. And since the background was black, it was kind of hard to tell, especially since you were concentrating on the very middle of the screen for where all the action was. But later on in the movie, there are some like wide shots of Oppenheimer's ranch and like people riding horses like across the field and whatnot. And these shots also take up the entire screen, no black bars. But then the next shot will be two people sitting close to each other having a dialogue, and the black bars are back. Those ones in particular, since the overall shot was brighter, were a lot more noticeable. I just thought it was odd. I mean, maybe I haven't watched a movie that was shot on IMAX cameras on a home TV. I wouldn't say it took me out of it, but it kind of caught me off guard because I hadn't ever seen that before. And like the whole sequence where they actually test the bomb, and it's just mostly silent. All you really hear is some breathing, and it's just cutting around to the light that's coming off of it, different people watching it, the people on the site, the people back at the main base. It was just a really cool sequence. And this is embarrassing, but it took me a little bit longer than it should have to realize that Robert Downey Jr. was that old guy in the courtroom at the start. It took me a while to catch on. He did not look like himself. It was pretty cool. So overall, if you have the patience for it, I would highly recommend watching Oppenheimer. And I would also recommend watching it on the biggest screen in the highest quality possible. Oh yeah, anyone that lives in Michigan, would you care to explain who named these towns and cities? I drove through there last week. I drove through the Upper Peninsula, across the Mackinac Bridge, and down the Mitten. And I was just reading road signs left and right, and it was like a fever dream. So that's a topic for another time.